This is the Oz report for January 14th, 2024. And as always, let's start with Plex and Plex adjacent items. Plex this week, it's sticking at 5 million. So, you know, Plex has been so incredibly steady. And to me, I think I said this last week, but this is just a testament to CCP really having found a balance here, right? They haven't been running any huge sales that will make that will throw things out of whack. There hasn't been a misbalance between the amount of people wanting to buy Plex to Plex account or to run skill farms versus those that are buying Plex with real cash, and so. This is a good sign overall. But so Plex mostly unchanged. Large skill injectors, they are rising in price a little bit, but they're still around that 880 million range. So really nothing to write home about. It's a fairly low level for the last 6 months. Most of that has to do with this, and that's the skill extractor prices that made skill farming so profitable, and that made the cost basis for skill injectors so cheap that we're still profiting in the long run from these skill extractor prices in low large skill injector prices. Speaking of skill extractors, I think we can finally conclude that skill extractors will always bounce back to 500 million ISK. So we've seen the two largest extractor sales of the last 5 to 10 years, and this is just incredible to see. I mean, this is skill extractors going down to 400 million, below 400 million, people spending massive amounts on them, as you can see by the volume bars below, and then it bouncing back to 500. So even though I've made hundreds of billions on this for the community, all right, and maybe a little bit for myself, I am not a huge fan of these, because really what happens with these sales is that the rich become richer. The rich are the ones that have a lot of ISK. The rich are the ones that are skill farming in large scale. So typically when you have a sale like this, yes, it makes skill points cheaper overall, which might benefit the masses, but these sales really make the rich just much richer. So I am, low-key hoping that we are not seeing another sale like that coming. However, I have no idea, and it might be that it's just around the corner because we haven't seen one in a while. So all I can say is, if a sale like that comes around, that is a 50% off skill extractor, or is a 2-for-1 skill extractor sale, then you better jump on it, because these have been the most profitable sales in the past year. Having said that, overall, if we're looking at skill farming profit, then that's back to around 700 million per account per month, so about 8.5 billion a year. That is still quite good, because this is not taking advantage of any sales. This is just based on a 12-month subscription with Plex. And so, it's still worth it for a lot of people to spin up a skill farm if they do have the capital to get it started and the accounts to get it started. So overall, I don't see skill injectors getting cheaper or getting more expensive, and I don't see skill extractors getting cheaper. If Plex is staying the same overall, anyway. So that's the injectors and Plex. I mentioned master DOM cerebral accelerators last month. These are currently the most effective way to gain SP in the game outside of event cerebral accelerators that are limited in time. And so these have settled at a fairly low rate, around 80 million right now. A buy price at 79 million is really a good deal still. And so I think right now is a good time to buy these, even as an investment. And they're always a good thing to buy if you just want to gain some SP. Very, very good deal. Now, let's go over here and let's look at what we're seeing on the various categories, trending up, trending down, etc. and you know, I announced this to chat earlier. I wasn't even planning on doing an Oz report today, so I'm a little bit under prepared today. But you guys are gonna discover this with me. It looks like we're definitely seeing some moon materials spiking here. Fermionic condensates 18% plus, ferrogel 21% plus this week. Those are some serious spikes, and typically those happen due to increased production or kickstarting production. Moon materials are used in tier 2 production, so there's definitely a lot of demand there. We're seeing trigger units, which is a salvage material, up 15%. Megasite, the minerals, we were chatting on this earlier as well, up 30%. So megasite is definitely the new bottleneck mineral, and it's had quite a year. I think year on year, megasite is up over 100% this year. So the yearly average is over 200%. Trending down, we are seeing two raw moon materials, so cesium and vanadium. So that's the raw materials that are used to create the advanced moon materials. So that's that's also cyclical. So typically when you're talking in production terms, people either have their own their own producers within their alliance, or their part of space that they're buying from. If producers do buy from the JITA markets, then they do buy in bulk a lot. So oftentimes you are seeing these raw materials like minerals, and especially moon materials, you're seeing them spike and then slowly come back down and then spike. So typically when you're seeing them trending down, and when you're seeing them trading, especially when you're seeing them in the most underpriced category, which we have down here, then they've been trading at a discount for quite a while, and then they become a very good deal to buy. But yeah, so cesium and vanadium are down. We're seeing Dead Space modules here trending down, a core X-type large armor repair. That is something that I would have to look at in game though. So we're going to move over here to the game client. Just because they're trending down this week doesn't mean that they're a good deal. So as you can see here from the game graph, core X-type large armor repairs, these are very much a highly traded Dead Space module, but the only reason that they've come down in price is because they spiked like crazy last week. So these are by no means a good deal right now. Other than that, I think porpoises, the same thing. We saw them spike last week. They're coming down in price, and the biggest loser this week is high grade Omega, but also they're just seeing them spike a lot. And yes, somebody said in chat, there might be a Turner effect this week. There was a huge battle in Turner with several trillion of damages, of destruction, and so when you see especially implants and modules moving a lot and spiking in price, then oftentimes that's because of a large battle. If we're looking at high volume items, we are still seeing the Pyrolantia agency drugs. Now, you can clearly see here what I call the Oz effect, all right? And this is not me overestimating my impact. This is either people understanding the markets, or they listened to the Oz report last week, or we were talking about it on stream. Clearly, the event is over, and there's an oversupply in these agency drugs. Pyrolantia are the ones that are the most popular ones, and so they are being bought up now, and a lot of people have invested in them, hoping that they will rise in price. And you can already see that these have already spiked in price so much that most of the Pyrolantia drugs are already back to their 52-week average. So I'm afraid that opportunity has passed. But congrats to everyone that took advantage of it. Now, let's see here. Tornadoes here being traded a lot. Tempest fleet issues traded a lot, but that's just, them being used in various fleets probably. Other than that, nothing interesting here in highest trade volume. If we look at short supply means that there's just no supply left in JITA. Crystalline isogen 10 is still in there. We talked about it at length last week. Abyssal materials used to create Triglavian ships. Very, very low supply because people are just not running enough of the abyssal content. If you want to make some money, go out there and run abyssals. Enhanced ward consoles. Salvage material, very high price and almost gone. If you have these lying around, they are worth a ton right now. Healers as well, not in high supply, just because they're typically being traded in such high amount. It's very difficult to keep the supply up. Let's see what else is in there. Large scale injectors are almost always in there. Noxium is interesting. I mean, there's less than one trade day of Noxium, which is a basic mineral, left in the market, and this is quite significant. Only half a trade day. So this is due to spike quite significantly. There's just a little bit could ignite this, and so if you're in the market for some speculation, Noxium might be it. Very interesting. Ishtars are as well. There's about 200 Ishtars a day being traded right now. There's about 50 left in the market. So Ishtars also maybe due for a spike. They're not even trading that expensive. If we're looking at largest supply drops, so that's what's been being bought up. Yep, enhanced ward consoles are being bought up. Noxium, that's all the same as we just saw in low supply. Morphite, interesting. Morphite was in a slump for a long time, and now we're seeing a lot of Morphite being bought up in JITA. The price has crossed 45,000. Very interesting. Morphite is one of those things that a year or two ago, I was investing in heavy in the Delta Fund. This is doing great things for the Delta Fund because I'm just sitting on a huge supply of Morphite. But if you might have listened to my podcast in the past or watched me on stream and you are sitting on a lot of Morphite, right now is definitely a time to sell because there's not a lot left and the price has spiked a lot. There's not much that Morphite can do to get even more expensive, but very, very good to see. Love it. And then we have something like Republic Fleet medium shield extenders, very popular faction module, also short supply, high in price. And interestingly, also some advanced PI materials, recursive computing modules. These are used, let's see here. If you are looking for industry, structure modules, these are used a lot in structure modules and some structures. So, have spiked in price, very low in supply. If you're one of those PI guys like me that do PI on the side, when you do have some time to export them, and you're sitting on stockpiles of these, right now is definitely the time to sell recursive computing modules because they have spiked. Last but not least, the last category is underpriced. So what's underpriced right now? Still, my sheet is saying Pyrolantia 1 and 2 is still underpriced. So especially 2, it looks like it's still trading significantly under 52-week average. So contrary to what I said earlier, maybe there is still something there, but the best deals are gone. Broadcast nodes, if you ask me, broadcast nodes, great time to invest in those. There's always going to be a need for them. Similarly to the other item we looked at, the recursive, what was it? Recursive computing modules. Broadcast nodes also used in structure modules, and so they're very much underpriced right now, under 2 million still, or the price is at 2 million. I think it's a good time to stock up on those if you're looking for an investment opportunity. Worms have just dropped in price. We talked about them last week. Might also be a good investment, although they're recovering in price. They're now available in more LP stores than before, so that's dropped the price in their of their blueprints. Zydrine, fairly cheap. Platinum, still fairly cheap. And yeah, Calari, Naval, Admiral, Insignia. This is a very high, a high volume trade good. It's one of those faction insignias that you use to trade in at the LP stores, and so those are also underpriced quite a bit. Cool. All right, so that's the impromptu Oz report for today. Hopefully there was a little bit of value in that for you today. We're going to return to the regular stream. We've already been streaming for almost 3 hours, so I'm going to wrap things up. So see you guys next